Okay, I have a few minutes free at the moment, and I thought I'd try this now and try the same exercise several times and put them all together into a longer video at some point. And what it has to do with is the first two cards in a Celtic Cross. And I think it's a kind of exercise you can do for yourself. And so what you do is, okay, let's say we've got, we do the shuffling, and let's say we've done the shuffling, and the first two cards, there's the first card and there's a second. And what you do is, you think of a question, and let's say, what's going to happen with my love life? Okay, because that's the kind of question that people want to ask, and the answer they want to know. And so what you do is, with nobody around and you're on your own, and you think, let's say somebody asked what's going to happen with my love life, and these two cards came up. So what you do is you put this here and you turn over the first one, and the first card is the Two of Swords reversed, and you think about what that might mean, or what it would mean or could mean if somebody had actually asked you what's going to happen with my love life. And so that's the first card, and this is the second one, the opposing force. And you look at these two, and you take 5 minutes or 5 hours, and you think through what kind of information you would give the questioner. If this were the first card and this were the second card, and that were the question, or maybe you take 5 minutes answering what's going to happen in my love life, and then you think the same two cards, what's going to happen with business, right, or with my work. And so you're looking at the Two of Swords reversed as the first card in a Celtic Cross for what will happen in my love life, and then what's going to happen with my business. And maybe you've got half a dozen questions. What does the future hold for me, for instance, could be the question. And that can be the answer. So you're thinking of actual questions, and you've got cards, and then you take some time to figure out what you would say depending on the question, if this were the first card. And then you get time with no pressure from somebody else wanting an immediate answer. You can take as long as you want to ponder on and think about what, with the Two of Swords were the first card and the Seven of Swords were the second card, the opposing force. And you come up with, you can write it down or you can just think it. Doesn't know if it matters. And then when you've had enough of these two, you take the next two. First card, second card. Okay, so let's see what's going to happen in my love life. Ace of Pentacles upside down. And what's the opposing force? The Six of Cups. And you think about that, and then you think, maybe you go back to, okay, what's going to happen in business? What would that mean? The Ace of Pentacles upside down for a business question. And what would the opposing force be if it were the Six of Cups? And it's a business question. So it is a kind of exercise you can try on your own. You can take as long as you want, as short as you want. You can pick, or maybe you do something like this. Okay, that's the first card. Let's say the opposing force is going to be this one, the Ace of Wands. And you think about that, and then you say, okay, let's say the opposing force is this, and you just keep taking the top card. What would that mean? What's the difference between the Ace of Pentacles reversed and opposed by the High Priestess, or opposed by the Ace of Wands, or opposed by, and I'm taking another card, opposed by the Star? So you're practicing and taking as long or as short as you want. So with the Celtic Cross, let me just shuffle these again. First card is the atmosphere surrounding the question. And you might find it helpful to write that down, just to remind yourself that the first card is the atmosphere surrounding the question. It will give you some information about the questioner at that moment. Let me take this second one across here, and we turn this one. The atmosphere surrounding the question. Okay, I should think of a question. Let's say, what's going to happen with my love life? Okay. The Queen of Swords upright is the atmosphere surrounding the question. And so it can be, I don't know if it's a man or a woman asking, I didn't think of that. But the Queen of Swords is an older woman. Maybe what it's saying is your mother or your mother-in-law is an important player in the question. So again, let me just, let's say it's the mother-in-law. And the opposing force is the Page of Pentacles. So you get two people. And so let me begin again, because I need to be more clear. So I'm thinking, because I don't know whether it's a man or a woman asking the question, right? So I don't know if that queen, it could be the woman asking the question. So let's say we've got a woman wants to know what's going to happen in my love life. And so and then we've got the first two cards in the Celtic Cross. And like that. So, what's going to happen in my love life, says the woman. And let's say she's 25. Okay? She's got a boyfriend. She's been out with him for a while. She's got a boyfriend. She's 25. What's going to happen in my love life? The Page of Wands. So pages tend to be female. So let's say this is you. Let's say you're the questioner. So this is you, and we'll call you Betty. This is you, Betty, because pages represent female characters. So that's you, and what are you doing? You're looking into the distance. So what you want is, the atmosphere surrounding the question is, what's the long-term future? She's looking into the distance. She's looking far away. What's the long-term future of the relationship? There's not much around here in the background. So not much is going on, maybe. Or maybe she doesn't have a lot of experience, a lot of time spent with the current boyfriend. Okay, because there's not much background. Okay, so maybe she just met the fellow and she wants to know, perhaps the question is there really any point in getting involved with him if there's no long-term future between us? So let's say that's the atmosphere surrounding the question. The second card goes across the first one, and it shows the opposing force, the obstacles, but there may be no obstacles. So you get an idea of whether anything is going to get in the way, or what's going to cooperate with looking into the distance, or what's going to stop her looking into the distance, what's going to add and reinforce the atmosphere, or what's going to get in the way and take you in a different direction from the atmosphere that is given by the first card. So we've got the Page of Wands looking here, the opposing force, and we've got the Queen of Pentacles. So this queen, another woman, so it could be she wants to take off and go and live in a foreign country, but her mother, the queen, doesn't think that's a good idea, or doesn't like the boyfriend. And so the mother has something to say about, or has some kind of input into the question, or rather into the answer. So you've got she, the 25-year-old Betty, wants to take off and wants to know about the long-term future, but she's going to be hindered by this older woman who's probably the mother, we can say. Even though the suit's different, it is an older woman. And so maybe it's Betty's mother. It's going to be a thorn in her side. Another thing is, I'd like to point out, books will tell you, you always read the second card as if it's upright. I thought that was okay for a while, but years ago I decided I need to know if the card is upright or reversed, because if it's a reverse card in this position and it's a bad card, it's going to be more problematical for the individual. So I decided that I'm going to lay the card this way and that way. If I turn the card over and I turn it this way, if the bottom of the card is on the left, it's as if the card is upside down. If the bottom of the card is on the right, it's as if the card is upright. So in this case, we've got the girl, Betty's looking off into the future. She's going to be opposed by the mother, who's a problem, because it's as if the Queen of Pentacles is upside down. Whereas if the bottom of the opposing card had been on the right, I would have, okay, the mother's involved, but she's not going to be much of a problem, because it's as if the card is upright and she's willing to see eye to eye with the daughter. She can understand the daughter's viewpoint, but because Pentacles represent values, so the mother has her own values, but is fair enough and is easygoing and can appreciate that her values are not automatically the daughter's values. Whereas this way, the mother has her values and thinks or knows or has decided how you ought to behave in a relationship, right? And the mother, because it's upside down, so to speak, the mother wants the daughter to follow the mother's values. And so what the daughter wants for herself isn't as important in the mother's eyes as what the mother